the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in the binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
As historical and social beings, we find ourselves always already in a linguistically structured life world. In the forms of communication through which we reach an understanding with one another about something in the world and about ourselves, we encounter a transcending power. Language is not a kind of private property. No one possesses exclusive rights over the common medium of the communicative practices we must intersubjectively share. No single participant can control the structure, or even the course, of processes of reaching understanding and self-understanding. How speakers and hearers make use of their communicative freedom to take yes or no positions is not a matter of their subjective discretion. For they are free only in virtue of the binding force of the justifiable claims they raise towards one another. The logos of language embodies the power of the intersubjective, which precedes and grounds the subjectivity of speakers. Habermas 2003 The Future of Human Nature. p. 10. Jürgen Habermas is most known for his theory of communicative action, which posits that true understanding and social coordination arise from rational discourse aimed at mutual agreement. He also famously theorized the public sphere, a space where citizens engage in critical debate to form public opinion and influence politics. Habermas critiques how modern society's instrumental rationality colonizes this life world, leading to a decline in genuine public deliberation. Jürgen Habermas's early life, from his birth in Dusseldorf in 1929 to his formative university years and initial academic steps, profoundly shaped his later philosophical and critical social theories. Born with a cleft palate, Habermas underwent corrective surgeries in his childhood. He has suggested that this early experience with a speech impediment made him acutely aware of the importance of communication and deep dependence, an insight that would later be central to his theory of communicative action. He grew up in Gummersbach, a small town near Cologne, during the tumultuous period of Nazi Germany. As a young teenager, like many of his contemporaries, he joined the Hitler Youth. However, the end of World War II in 1945 and the horrifying revelations of Nazi atrocities, particularly through documentary films of the concentration camps, deeply affected him. This experience fostered in him a lifelong commitment to democratic ideals and a strong skepticism towards those who easily adapted to the post-war regime without confronting their past complicity. This personal encounter with totalitarianism and its aftermath instilled a strong critical impulse that defined his intellectual trajectory. From 1949 to 1954, Habermas pursued his university studies, attending the universities of Göttingen, Zurich, and Bonn. He completed his PhD in philosophy at Bonn in 1954, with a dissertation on Friedrich Schelling. During this period, he also became acutely aware of the extent of philosopher Martin Heidegger's commitment to Nazism, which further solidified his critical stance against intellectual complicity. His intellectual journey then led him to the renowned Institute for Social Research in Frankfurt, often referred to as the Frankfurt School. From 1956 to 1959, he worked as Theodor Adorno's first assistant, a crucial period where he absorbed and engaged with the critical theory tradition. Although he had disagreements with the Institute's director, Max Horkheimer, who found him too left-leaning, Habermas always acknowledged Adorno as a significant mentor. He completed his habilitation, a second doctoral thesis, required for teaching at university level in Germany, in political science at the University of Marburg in 1961 under Wolfgang Abendroth. This work was published in 1962 as The Structural Transformation of the Public Sphere, a book that would become one of his most celebrated and foundational texts, laying the groundwork for his later theories on communication and democracy. This period marks the end of his early life and the beginning of his emergence as a major intellectual figure. After his foundational work The Structural Transformation of the Public Sphere, published in German in 1962, Jürgen Habermas embarked on a deeply ambitious and comprehensive intellectual project, culminating in what is widely considered his magnum opus, The Theory of Communicative Action, published in German in 1981. This two-volume work, often simply referred to as TCA, represents a linguistic turn in critical social theory. While the structural transformation laid the groundwork for understanding the conditions of rational public debate, the theory of communicative action sought to provide a systematic philosophical and sociological grounding for this possibility. Here's a breakdown of its significance and the intellectual journey leading to it. From critique to reconstruction. While his early work, influenced by the Frankfurt School, was heavily critical of modern society, the theory of communicative action marked a shift towards a more reconstructive approach. Habermas aimed to identify and reconstruct the normative foundations embedded in human communication and social interaction, rather than simply lamenting the pathologies of modernity. The concept of communicative rationality, at the heart of TCA, is the concept of communicative rationality. Habermas meticulously develops the argument that inherent in everyday language use and interaction is a drive towards mutual understanding and consensus. He contrasts this with instrumental or strategic rationality, which he argues dominates modern systems like the economy and the state. Life, world and system. A central distinction in TCA is between the life world and the system. The life world refers to the taken-for-granted background of shared cultural traditions, social norms, and personal identities that inform our everyday interactions. It's the realm where communicative action naturally unfolds, coordinating through mutual understanding. The system refers to societal subsystems like the economy, coordinated by money, and the administrative state, coordinated by power. These systems operate through instrumental or strategic rationality, aiming for efficiency and control. Habermas argues that in modern societies, the system tends to colonize the life world, meaning that instrumental rationality increasingly invades and distorts areas of life that should be governed by communicative understanding, e.g., education, family life, public discourse. A grand synthesis. The theory of communicative action is a monumental work that draws upon and synthesizes a vast array of intellectual traditions, including classical German philosophy, Kant, Hegel, and the German idealists. Sociological theory. Max Weber on rationalization, Émile Durkheim on social integration, and Talcott Parsons on social systems. Linguistic philosophy and speech act theory. Ludwig Wittgenstein, J. L. Austin, and John Searle, whose insights into the pragmatic dimensions of language were crucial for Habermas's theory of validity, claims truth, rightness, sincerity. American Pragmatism, Charles Sanders Peirce and John Dewey. Critical theory, building on, but also significantly diverging from, his Frankfurt School predecessors like Adorno and Horkheimer. Implications for democracy and ethics. By laying out the principles of communicative rationality, Habermas provided a normative basis for his later theories of deliberative democracy and discourse ethics. He argued that legitimate norms and policies are those that could be agreed upon by all affected parties in an inclusive and rational discourse. Jürgen Habermas's essay What is Universal Pragmatics German, was Heißt Universal Pragmatik was originally published in 1976. This essay laid the groundwork for his more extensive theory of communicative action, which was published in 1981. An English translation of What is Universal Pragmatics was included in his 1979 collection Communication and the Evolution of Society. One of his most significant subsequent works is Moral Consciousness and Communicative Action 1983, English translation 1990. This collection of essays elaborates on his discourse ethics. Building directly on the insights of the theory of communicative action, Habermas argues that moral norms can be justified through a procedure of rational discourse. Rather than positing universal moral truths a priori like Kant's categorical imperative, he suggests that valid moral norms are those that all potentially affected parties would agree to in an ideal speech situation, where arguments are exchanged freely and rationally. This moves the focus from the individual conscience to the intersubjective process of communication as the source of moral validity. Following this, he undertook a comprehensive re-evaluation of law and democracy, between facts and norms, Contributions to a Discourse Theory of Law and Democracy 1992, English translation 1996. This is another major systemic work where Habermas applies his discourse theory to the foundations of modern law and the democratic constitutional state. He attempts to bridge the apparent gap between the facticity of positive law, its existence as enforced rules, and the validity or legitimacy of those laws, their moral justification. He argues that legitimate law arises from democratic procedures rooted in communicative action, where citizens collectively engage in self-legislation. This work explores the co-originality of private and public autonomy, arguing that individual rights and popular sovereignty are mutually constitutive. It also examines the role of civil society and the public sphere in generating communicative power that can influence and legitimate state action. Beyond these two pillars, Habermas continued to publish prolifically, engaging with a variety of pressing issues. The Philosophical Discourse of Modernity 1985, English translation 1987. In this work, Habermas defends the unfinished project of modernity against its postmodern critics such as Foucault, Derrida, and others. He argues that while the Enlightenment project has certainly encountered pathologies, its emancipatory potential, particularly through communicative reason, should not be abandoned but rather critically completed. The Post-National Constellation 1998, English translation 2001, this collection of essays addresses the challenges to the nation-state in an era of globalization. Habermas explores the possibilities of a cosmopolitan order, transnational governance, and the constitutionalization of international law, arguing for new forms of political integration beyond traditional national borders. The Future of Human Nature 2001, English translation 2003, here, Habermas delves into the ethical implications of advancements in biotechnology, particularly genetic engineering. He raises concerns about the potential erosion of human freedom and the unalterable self-understanding of individuals if human nature itself becomes a product of technological design. Dialectics of Secularization, On Reason and Religion 2005, English translation 2006. In his later work, Habermas increasingly engaged with the role of religion in post-secular societies. He argues for a respectful dialogue between secular and religious citizens, suggesting that religious traditions can still offer valuable moral insights to a secular public reason, provided they are translated into a publicly accessible language. As of today, June 15, 2025, Jürgen Habermas is still alive. Born in 1929, the influential German philosopher and sociologist continues to be an active voice in intellectual discourse. He is 95 years old. Social pragmatics does not have the simplicity of scientific pragmatics. It is a monster formed by the interweaving of various networks of heteromorphous classes of utterances: denotative, prescriptive, performative, technical, evaluative, etc. There is no reason to think that it would be possible to determine meta-prescriptives common to all of these language games, or that a revisable consensus like the one in force at a given moment in the scientific community could embrace the totality of meta-prescriptions regulating the totality of statements circulating in the social collectivity. As a matter of fact, the contemporary decline of narratives of legitimation, be they traditional or modern, the emancipation of humanity, the realization of the idea, is tied to the abandonment of this belief. It is its absence for which the ideology of the system, with its pretensions to totality, tries to compensate, and which it expresses in the cynicism of its criterion of performance. For this reason, it seems neither possible, nor even prudent, to follow Habermas in orienting our treatment of the problem of legitimation in the direction of a search for universal consensus through what he calls discours, in other words, a dialogue of argumentation. Jean-François Lyotard, The Postmodern Condition, 1979. Subjects who reciprocally recognize each other as such, must consider each other as identical, insofar as they both take up the position of subject. They must at all times subsume themselves and the other under the same category. At the same time, the relation of reciprocity of recognition demands the non-identity of one and the other. Both must also maintain their absolute difference, for to be a subject implies the claim of individuation. Habermas, 1972. Sprachspiel, Intention und Bedeutung. Motive and Basellers und Wittgenstein. In R.W. Wiggerhaus ed. Sprachanalyse and Sociology. Frankfurt, Suhrkamp. p. 334.
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No light, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just the beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Pure and raw. Turn up, let the silence break. touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Pure and raw. Okay.